buy yourself a gun. What? Gun? What? Like a handgun for personal protection. If somebody tries to mug you. What? What if your government tries to throw you in a can? What? You're gonna want a shotgun. Oh. What? An automatic rifle and a lot of ammo. Gun? Yeah, gun.
We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They'll burn you out like a Waco. They'll stick your ass in a camp. Check for the cops in riot gear. Gonna kick your ass and laugh. The revolution is on its way. Better lock and load your AK. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They gave your money to the banksters. They stole your pension funds. It's time that we took to the streets. It's time we had our turn. A revolution is on its way, and the founding fathers would say, buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta drag them through the streets.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday. It's Primer Time. My name is Michael.
And I'm Nick.
Nick, what's going on? How's life treating you?
Oh, I'm getting a little bit better every day. Got off the cast, and I'm now in a walking boot, but still on crutches.
Shout out to the NASA space program for my brother's moon boot. Nicholas, we've got a special guest tonight.
I'm pretty excited, Michael. Why don't you go ahead and introduce him?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Bob Mason of EasyConcealedCarry.com, and Bob is makes holster belts. And I'll tell you what, I own one, and I totally enjoy it. And it's a product that I truly believe in, and I think Bob should tell everybody about it, because if you own a firearm, this is your answer. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Oh, Bob, it's good to have you on the show. A lot of what we've been talking about is different items for folks to have, and when they own a firearm. And probably one of the things that's most overlooked is a safe and convenient way to carry that firearm.
That's right.
And I think that what you have in your product will probably fit the bill for a lot of folks that own pistols.
It will. It's such a simplistic design. It's unique. I mean, it's just totally unique, and it holds.
I've not seen another product like it out there.
Well, I don't think there is. I don't think there is anymore.
I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, that's it. I have to have one, and I placed the order, and it showed up when you said it would show up, and I put it on immediately. And tell you what, I'm not a skinny kid. I'm not the fattest guy in the world, but I'm a good sized boy. And other good sized boys out there realize that you kind of get a little sag in your belt if it's at the back. And this belt hasn't sagged on me yet.
This belt will not sag, and it will not roll.
No.
Well, that's great. I mean,
the leather won't roll, and it will not sag.
So, Bob, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your manufacturing process with the leather and such?
Well, I buy all American-made products. This belt is 100% American. The belt buckles are solid brass. It has a solid brass belt loop, solid brass rivets, and solid brass snaps, and they're all U.S. made. I buy my leather from the only remaining leather tannery in the United States. It's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So my product is 100% American.
And that's a pretty rare feat to accomplish these days, especially when it comes to the fittings and the rivets and anything that has to do with the machining process. We've seen so many of those jobs go overseas in the last 20 years that it's quite an achievement to be able to source all your products from within the United States. So I mean, my hat's off to you for that.
It took a while, but that was one of the most important things to me. I wanted everything to be. I'm 100% American. I want everything to be 100% American. If you buy something that's nice and high quality, you can't hardly buy anything American made anymore.
Oh, that's true. I mean, whether it's from automobiles or any electronics, I mean, you find more often than not that better quality products tend to come from overseas. And I think that one of the things that we have a monopoly on is handcrafted pieces of workmanship that are almost like artisan quality. And I'd say that when you take the time to hand tool the leather, you're creating an individual piece. I mean, that's something that a lot of people don't have the skill to do, and certainly don't have the acumen to be able to market it effectively.
And all of my belts are custom made. You tell me what you want, and I'll have it ready for you in a couple of days.
Awesome. So like Michael said, it fits him to a glove. So
it will. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you give me an accurate size, and I'll make it fit like a glove, and it will be so comfortable you won't even know you got it on. You can put a gun in it.
You're keeping these waist sizes confidential, right?
Yeah.
I haven't said a thing. I'll tell you this though. I just sent one out today that was a 66-inch belt. That's the biggest I've ever done.
That's a good size belt.
That's a big boy. When I say my stuff is custom made, I can make about any size up to 104 inches, and I don't think anybody's going to be that big, but I can make up to 104 inches because that's the longest strip of leather in a cowhide. That's from the center of the tail all the way up to the middle of the shoulders.
Right.
And it takes it all. I mean, so basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the leather to make that would make two belts and making one, basically is what it amounts to. But I don't sell it that way. I don't charge that much for them.
Well, that's one of the interesting things, because this is one of those items where the sum of the individual parts is going to cost less than the whole, and that's something that I think is pretty awesome, because leather's not cheap. When you go into the manufacturing process of tanning a hide, you're messing with some chemicals, you're messing with time, and you're certainly messing with heavy equipment that's used to make it from an actual live skin to something that's going to be worn and cured and tanned.
That's right. And I dye my own leather. I buy undyed raw leather, and I cut it and dye it myself. And that's what in my process, that's why it takes me so long, because I have to dye it. I can make the belt in a rather short period of time, not really short, but I mean, within a reasonable length of time. But I have to, when I dye it, I have to let it set and cure for 24 hours before I can rub it out.
Okay.
Because if you rub it out before it's cured, you're going to have dark spots, light spots, and smears and so forth. But mine come out. Well, Michael, you got one.
Oh, it's a uniform. I've got a brown. A brown. It's very simple. I don't have any tooling on it. It's just a plain brown belt, because I'm not one for fancy things. And the color is uniform through it, and the quality is there. It's evident when you pick it up and you put something in it. Now, one of the things I like is that it holds any size weapon, but the more important thing to me is that it holds smaller weapons very well. I'm a fan of the Beretta 21As, and I don't know if anybody else out there is, but if you are, you know that buying a holster for a 21A is kind of a problem. It's a small, little, tiny. Well, I mean, it's smaller than the palm of my hand, and it's just to find a holster that fits that is sort of impossible. And the belt fits that thing perfect.
That belt will fit. That belt will hold a number 2 lead pencil. If you put it in there, it'll hold that lead pencil all day long and not move an inch. It won't move a tenth of an inch. It'll just stay right where you put it. Or you can put a baseball bat in it, and it'll stay there too. So you could, I mean, it'll fit just about anything. Any handgun will fit in it. Where you run into problems if you're under 6'4" and you got an 8-inch barrel gun, it ain't gonna work too well.
You might end up using that as a crutch.
Exactly. I mean, it'll dig into your leg. But I mean, if you've got a 4-inch or 5-inch or less barrel gun, it'll fit, and it'll fit so comfortable, and it will hug your body so well that you can just wear a T-shirt pull a T-shirt out and over top of it, and nobody will know you got it because it hugs your body.
Well, and that's a
well,
that's
I've
a
carried
good thing.
2 weapons or 3 weapons in mine. I've carried a Ruger LC9, which is a slim single stack 7-round compact pistol. I've carried a J-frame Smith, which is the typical snub nose revolver, and then I've carried the Beretta 21A. And I'll tell you what, for all 3 of those, that's great.
It'll fit revolvers. It'll fit automatics. It doesn't care what you put in it. It'll just fit it. And the beautiful part of it is you can take your gun out of it, set it on a table, pick up another gun. You can put a revolver out of it, put it on the table, pick up another automatic and stick it in there, and it'll hold instantly. It will readjust to fit that revolver from the revolver to the automatic. I mean, it just instantly does it.
And that was going to be one of my questions, Bob, was that if you prefer to carry a certain sidearm, more often than not, and you decide to change it up and use a different firearm, will that belt basically mold to one of those and not hold, or will it kind of relax the leather and go back to its natural state?
No, it'll relax and go back to its natural state. And the big secret is there is a zero tolerance between the leather belt itself and the integrated holster portion. There's a zero tolerance. Okay, that means there's absolutely no gap, period.
Perfect.
Now, when you put a gun in it, it's still a zero tolerance, which means that the gripping quality is just absolutely superior. And it doesn't make any difference whether you put a great big gun in it or you put a little small gun in it. Zero tolerance is zero tolerance. It's going to be the same. It's not going to hold a small one any tighter than it will a large one, or vice versa. I mean, and it's the interior, the inside is the integrated holster. That particular portion of the rig will kind of mold itself to the gun that you put in. And the outside of the belt won't change shape or color or dimensions or anything. But when you take that out, it just goes right back to the zero tolerance again with no gaps.
Well, that's where the consistency of your workmanship comes in.
Exactly. And if you don't, I've experimented around, and I'm still today, right this minute, I'm still wearing the very first one I ever did.
Oh, you got number 1 on your hip.
Yep. And
I'll tell you what, the very first time I saw your ad, you had a high point in it. And I thought, I'm sort of a connoisseur of firearms, and I know what a high point is. I got no problem with them. I mean, I personally don't own one, and I'm not necessarily going to recommend it, but I thought it was interesting that you chose that, because that's not a small firearm.
It's the heaviest. It's the heaviest. It's like a baseball bat of guns. It's the heaviest damn thing there is. So if it'll hold that, if it'll hold up that, it'll hold up anything. That was the point. That was the reason behind using a high point.
Right. And how would you say that?
I remember you got a lot of crap over actually posting the high point in the
Oh, I did. I did. I got a lot of
crap about the high point. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Bob, in terms of what folks know in general, when we talk about a large pistol versus a concealed carry pistol, folks are going to look and say, oh, well, how does that handle a 1911 frame pistol? How's that going to stack up? And like I said, you said earlier about the zero tolerance between different caliber or different frame handguns. If you go from something like an LC9 or Ruger LC9, and you want to go out and go to that 45, you're still going to have consistency with that leather. You're not going to have anything stretching that individual compartment.
No, this leather is thick. It's heavy. It's the best quality on the market. I mean, you can't get anything any better than what I got. I guarantee my belts for life for material and workmanship.
I'll tell you what, you can't find a whole lot of that anywhere.
Now, here's what's going to happen. People are going to need different belts. They're going to need more belts eventually. And it isn't because the belt failed them. It's because they've outgrown it.
I was going to say it's because they have to shop in the Husky section.
I blame tacos for this situation.
Well,
I'm blaming all the Mexicans on this one.
I'm no little boy, so I understand. I mean, I'm not the biggest guy.
Well, I'll tell you what, in reference to being, somewhat on the not skinny side and sitting down in a restaurant wearing this, it does not show when you're sitting there. Even my large fat gut is all over it and should be pushing anything out, it's not visible.
Now, let me tell you the wonderful thing. You can stick this in your belt. You can stick a gun in your belt, get on your Harley and go 120 miles an hour, and it isn't going to move an inch. It will stay right where you put it. It cannot move.
Hey, and Bob, did you happen to mention that this is not only a holster, but it's an ambidextrous holster, and it's a magazine carrier?
Exactly. You on one side. Now, the way I've got this constructed, you can carry a gun on the left side, or you can carry a gun on the right side, or you can carry a gun on the left side and extra magazines on the right, and you can carry a gun on the left side and opposite, So this gun is as ambidextrous. This belt is as ambidextrous as it gets, and it's a unique piece. There was a lot of thought that went into this, and there is a lot of love and effort that goes into making the quality product. I mean, I'm proud of what I do, and when I send somebody a belt, it's going to be right. I mean, it's just that simple.
Well, Bob,
you have to take a look at a couple.
Making them? Bob, I asked, how long have you been making these belts?
It's been about 3 years.
Okay, and you've said, how long did it take you to come up with the concept or the design?
Well, I'm left-handed, and it was a pain in the rear end. I could never find a holster. And when I did find one, I'd have to order it, and I have to wait for 2 or 3 weeks to get it. And then nobody would send it to you when they said they would. And I mean, on and on and on. And it just finally irritated the hell out of me. So I decided to do my own.
Oh, necessity is the mother of invention.
So I decided to do my own, and I did my own. And 2 or 3 friends of mine seen it, and they said, we want one. So I did another one. And, I did them all. And the next thing you know, it just took off. It just completely took off, and it's been very well accepted. I have probably 3 or 4 sheriff departments in Texas and New Mexico who use these on a daily basis. The undercover detectives, and a couple of police departments also that their undercover detectives use these. For obvious reasons, I can't say who it is.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's going to shoot their. It's going to shoot their undercover part if somebody happens to see it or hear it,
Well, I mean, that's a testament to the reliability of your product.
Now, let me tell you something else. When I tell you that these things are custom made, I have guys that want to carry the gun in their back,
right,
left rear, right rear, or whatever. I can place those integrated holsters wherever you want them. Okay. I make the belt. I can do what I want to with them.
So basically, all an individual has to say is, I prefer this portion, like the back right, above the waist, but behind the hip, or towards the front of the hip. Just based on that, just give you an approximate location.
Yeah. And you give me your configuration, and I'll put it together.
Think of your zipper as 12 o'clock, and if you can think of your zipper as 12 o'clock, or your belt buckle being 12 o'clock, you can basically put the holster anywhere in time on there for you.
Pretty much.
All right, now let me throw something at you. Your product comes in at a relatively, seriously, an affordable price. This isn't going to break anybody. $40.
Man,
and that's free shipping also.
I'll tell you what, I've had to go to stores and department stores, and I couldn't buy a belt. That was
that's exactly what I'm getting at.
Man.
Let's look at the price to go to a big box store and buy a belt, a man's belt, a decent, good man's belt. If you go to Walmart, you're about $20, $30. You go to, say, a sporting goods store that happens to sell men's clothes. Shout out to Academy once again. you're looking at $25 for a belt. You go to like a J.C. Penney or something like that, you're looking at $30 for a belt. Now that leaves you with $10 for a holster. What kind of holster do you get for $10?
Stuff too. That's laminated. That
yeah,
they're
crappy belts. That's right.
Mine's solid. Mine's solid leather.
I'll tell you what, I had purchased
it might be the best belt they could make in. It might that Levi's belt is probably the best belt they can make in Bangladesh.
And that's what I'm saying. You know, I had purchased a Levi's belt, and it was leather on the inside and some kind of laminate coating that went over the front. And within a year, that laminate was basically working itself off the leather, and you could see whatever adhesive they had used, the glue that they had tried to attach it with.
I bet you had the same plastic that Tapco uses.
I don't know.
Remember what I just got done telling you a little bit ago? Guaranteed for life.
I'll tell you what, you can't beat that.
Material and workmanship. Yeah, Walmart ain't going to do that.
Oh, certainly not.
No, absolutely
Walmart
not.
will guarantee it for life as long as you die when you ought to.
Yeah.
So what do you get for the price of yours? If you're going to go out and buy the alternative, you're now walking around with the crappy $9 nylon Uncle Mike's holster with the Velcro retention strap on it. You know, who has that? The guy who bought a gun the very first time and is going to keep it in the glove compartment or something. That's not for anybody who's serious about a firearm. Nobody carries a nylon holster for anything other than, well, I've got this Smith & Wesson SD9 VE that cost me $300 and they threw in this holster when I bought it.
Okay, let's look at one other thing. Let's just, for argument's sake, say that your gun, your automatic is an inch thick. Okay, so with my belt, you've got an inch to hide. With a concealed carry holster, inside the waistband, outside the waistband, I don't give a damn what it is. You've got an inch. Those are all pre-molded, so they're going to be about a quarter of an inch too wide on the inside, and then it's going to be about 3/4 of an inch extra to hide because you got a big bulky ass holster. So you've went from, with my belt, hiding an inch thick gun to with an IWB holster or an outside of the waistband holster, you got an inch and 3/4 to hide. What would you rather try to hide? I mean, God, it's not rocket science. It's just plain and simple.
Yeah, and for our listeners, Bob, I wanted to go ahead and give you a chance to get your website out there again.
Okay, my website is easyconcealcarry.com. easyconcealcarry.com.
All right, and
I'm telling you, it is totally worth the money. I got a thing for holsters. Now, I'm not saying like I'm a holster freak or anything, but I like a good quality holster. And a good quality holster, I happen to like the ones that a company called Tagua. I think they make really nice stuff. It's good quality leather. It's made in Paraguay, and they sell it here in the United States, and they come for about $40 or $50. Now, it's a good holster. I'm not disparaging the company by any means, but if you've got a chance to spend money with a company in the United States where the money's going to stay here, or send it to a company based out of Paraguay, I think the answer is easy.
Oh, certainly. I think that anybody that values workmanship is going to want to spend their money where they know something is a tried and true product and that actually has some thought and some experience going into the creation of that product. And I think, Bob, that's what gives you a leg up on your competition.
Well, yeah, and I stress the fact that it's made in USA. I mean, I stress that fact. It's made in the USA. It's made in Hillsboro, Ohio. We're proud of what we do. I mean, it's an excellent product, and it's an excellent price. I mean, the price is not unreasonable at all.
So Bob, what is your product range? Do you have just the one concealed magazine with the inner waistband and then the pistol, or do you do these a couple different varieties?
I do a single holster and I do a double holster.
Okay, and what's the difference in terms of the material? It's all leather across the board, right?
Correct. Everything is identical in terms of the only thing different is the number of holsters.
Okay.
Now I make them in smooth leather, black or brown. I make them in basket weave tooled, and you can choose whether you want tooled or you can choose whether you want smooth, and it's the same price. The same price for a tooled versus smooth.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
hello.
I was just taking a look at it online, and I'll tell you what. If you're doing that much tooling on the leather, I remember taking a leatherworking class in high school so many years ago, and that is individual little punches that you've got to be pretty precise about the placement.
It's pretty quick. I mean, it's for me, it's easy.
Right. Well, you've got the experience and you've got the practical application of your skill set. I'll tell you what, you couldn't put the average Joe up to a leatherworking bench, give him the tools and the hammer, and say go to town and create something that looks this good.
No, it to me it's easy because it's a love. You know, it's hard to explain. It's doing something that you just really enjoy doing, and I'm doing something that I just love recognition, and I get people that's all the time who, like Michael, put a post on my or a comment on my posting. Bob comes through as promised. You know, I thrive and I live on that stuff. I mean, that's like sugar.
Now,
to
I'll
me.
tell you, Bob, seriously, I wish I could do commercials for you or something. And I mean, good thing I've got a face for radio because you you wouldn't make any money that way.
I got a good
But
face for radio too.
I'll tell you, man, I truly enjoy this. And today I got to go dove hunting today, and I wore your belt and holster while I went, and we did a little bit of walking, and it was not a whole lot of walking, but I mean, we went out there going from the chair to up to going up and grabbing a bird. My 9mm stayed in my pants fine.
I've never tried this, but I've been
you can't beat it, man. I'm sold. I'm getting a couple more. And Nick,
I've never tried
this,
Michael, but
Merry Christmas, dude.
I think if you would put some shotgun shells in there instead of a gun, I believe that they would hold just the same way.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know what? I'm going out dove hunting again tomorrow just because, well, time's running out and we got a great big old barbecue coming up, and so we got to get as many as we can. And if I don't improve my my numbers, we each get one dove breast. So
I hope you brought a big pair of scissors.
I'll tell you what. Seriously, I'm gonna try that. I'll fill it up with shells and take it and see how it works.
I've never tried it. I don't know, but it seems to me like.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna try it tomorrow. It's exactly what I'm gonna do.
And it just came to mind when you said that. It just came to my mind that, I've had pencils in it. I've had dowel rods in it. I've had all kinds of different shapes and sizes, and everything that I've put in it has stayed exactly where I put it. You can put 3 or 4 magazines in it, depending upon how big they are. You can put 3 or 4 magazines in it, and it'll hold them just like a glove. So why wouldn't it hold several shotgun shells? I mean, I don't,
I'll tell you what. I've got the belt on right now, and I'd feel really uncomfortable taking off the belt right now and trying to figure out how many shells fit in it. But I'm looking just by feeling it. I bet you I could probably. I'm a big boy, so you could probably get 6, maybe 8.
I'd say 5, maybe 6.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for making me feel small, Bob. I appreciate that.
I'd say 5, maybe 6. And I'll tell you why. A shotgun shell, I think, is around between 5/8 and 3/4 of an inch, isn't it? Typically.
Yeah. It's about. I think it's 3/4. What is it? 12 gauge is 0.729 diameter.
Well, you'll be able to get 6 and maybe 7.
Well, there you go. I had a question for you, Bob, in terms of. Trying to get the appropriate sizing. Some guys like to have a little bit of extension left on the belt once they pass the buckle. For example, I've got a 38-inch waist.
If your waist is 38, I would make you a 42-inch belt.
Okay, so that way I'd have a little something left past.
Yeah, I put 6 holes in the belt. the third hole from the back side where the holster is, the third hole back is where it's size 42. So you've got 2 inches to shrink, and you've got 3 inches to expand, and you still have room to tuck the belt into the belt loop.
Well, can you put 2 of those loops a little far forward? Because I don't think I'm
weekend.
getting any smaller.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm liking it. I'm looking at it, and just the whole product itself seems to me that it's a really well thought out concept. It seems like it's got a natural placement on, at least from the right-handed model that I'm looking at. It seems like it would come right about the 3 o'clock, just on your right side of your hip. And yeah, you even have a picture on your website of, what is it? That's probably a Glock Model 19, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It looks like a Model 19, and that looks like, right about where I would want it on my hip. So, and that's the single slotted version.
Yeah, and then the double slotted version, you can, with a single slotted version, you have to tell me whether you're left-handed or right-handed, because you can't. And the reason for that is you can buy one and it'll be convertible. You can put it on left or put it on right. All you just have to do is thread it in from one side or the other, you see.
Yeah, certainly.
But if you want to change belt buckles and go to a rodeo style buckle, you have to have it specifically made for left or right. Otherwise, your buckle will be upside down one way or the other.
Well, for any cowboys that are out there that are concealing, that may be a good thing for when they get thrown from their mount.
Yeah.
It'll be right side up at that point.
Listen, all jokes aside, I saw this product, and like Bob says, the beauty of it is its simplicity. And I see this simple product, and it's stuck in my head. And anybody who out there is really a gun guy will take a look at this and say, yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. I got to get one of these. And I'm telling you, get one. I bought one. I didn't buy one and have Bob send it to me. And as part of being on the show, I bought it. Bob didn't know me from Adam. I didn't know Bob from Adam. I took a chance with some dude on Facebook who was selling something. He showed up. I used it for, I think, 7-8 days before I said, hey, Bob, I kind of got a radio show. You want to come on and talk about this thing? Because it kicks ass. And I truly believe in this. And Nick, you're getting one for Christmas, and pretty much all my good gun guys are getting one for Christmas. I think I'm getting the guys I went hunting with today, TJ and Timmy, and shout out to TJ and Timmy for letting me go out there and abuse their land. Thank you. These guys are getting them. They're good dudes, and they could totally put a use for them. Which, hey, anybody do anything with guns this week?
Actually, I've been off my feet for the last week because of being in this cast in the walking boot. So, you guys probably had more opportunity to get out and shoot than I have.
Bob, did you get a chance to get out and shoot or?
I go out every once in a while. I can shoot. I can walk out my back door and shoot anywhere I want to.
Oh, that's
a beautiful
that's the
thing.
life
You
right
are a
there.
lucky man.
I can walk right. I got
a middle school straight out my back door. I cannot do that.
I don't have
anybody. I cannot go out my back door and shoot.
Probably a mile and a half behind me before there's another house.
Oh, that's great.
And there's probably
that's well within the terminal range of a 22 long rifle.
It's about 2 miles before, and if we go out the front door, it's about 2 miles before there's another house.
Oh man, yeah. I don't live in those kind of environs. I live in a subdevelopment, so there's children and other undesirable members of society where I live.
I understand. Well, there's undesirable people here too, but they don't come around here because they know that they'll.
It's a long way up the driveway to come and steal the battery out of your lawnmower.
Exactly, and if they come up, they better not.
What are the laws for like home defense and concealed carry in your state?
In Ohio is an open carry and a concealed carry. Concealed carry, you have to have a license. Open carry, you can just carry. You can use this belt as an open carry, or you can use it concealed. Either way.
I think open carry is a beautiful thing, and if Texas was an open carry, I would use your belt. I would actually suck in my gut and tuck in my shirt so you can see your belt, because I do actually like it. I really
Well,
dig this thing. And
these things are
I'm going to
such.
get a couple more of them for me. Just because, a guy has to have a couple of belts. You got to have a brown belt. You got to have a black belt. Yeah, you probably should have a couple different buckles. And I'm not any kind of fashion diva by any means, but I mean, I know how to tie a tie. So I know there's rules for dressing. And I have
solid brass buckles that are the traditional buckles with a tongue. I have chromed buckles with a tongue. I have chromed like the belt buckle like you got, and I also have the solid brass belt buckle like you've got. I've got several choices of buckles, and they're all, it's all American made, and it's all good stuff. And my chromed buckles are solid brass that are double chromed.
So, all right, give the website one more time, because I want you to get people who are listening to this to buy this. I think it's a badass product. And if you're out there and you've got a pistol, you've got a 22 long rifle, Beretta 21A, you got a Sig 938, you got a Colt Pony 380, you got a Kel-Tec 9mm, the P11, you've got yourself an old Smith 59 series pistol, you've got a Bertha. Get out there and buy one of these things. It's the best $40 you're going to spend.
Website is
Bob, I truly believe in it. Give it.
www.easyconcealcarry.com. easyconcealcarry.com. Pretty simple website. I mean, it's
simple website, simple concept, and that's what counts.
Well, Bob, you said you're out in Ohio, and most across the eastern part of the United States, we have deer season going on right now, at least for archery, and then probably in the next week or two, you're going to start seeing folks going out there for muzzle loading.
It is here too. It's archery season here right now.
So I would say that this is probably a really good opportunity for those who hunt to have a sidearm with them as they're going out to ensure that that kill, because there's not always the guarantee that you shoot something with a rifle that's going down. And frequently in Germany, when I was living there, we would have to carry a pistol because of the game we were hunting was wild boar. And just because you shoot that with a 300 Win Mag does not mean that it's dead.
Nope, it don't. So those things are tough.
They are, and I think that actually that's one of the benefits of having just a integrated holster into the belt itself, because, like Michael said earlier, you're going to want to have a good quality belt, but then to have to go ahead and thread another holster onto that, that can make your pants, just uncomfortable.
It'll make you sag.
Yeah. And
on top of that, you've got a crap holster. You've got, at that point, once you've spent the 15, or actually 15 is going to be the bargain basement built, which is going to be even worse. You might as well get one of those cotton web, Navy looking belts or something that they give to like little kids in middle school. What do you got? You've got a $9 Uncle Mike's nylon holster, which, it fits its $9 job fine, but actual real carry does not qualify. It doesn't fit the bill.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I mean, looking at it, I can't think for any other application that this would come in handy. I mean, being out in the hunting stand and having to worry about, hey, is my firearm secure on my person as I'm walking up the ladder to my stand or coming down the ladder? And that's one of the things that probably, if you've got one of those cheaper holster products, you're really wondering about. And
well, let me say this one more time. These things are priced at $39, and I pay the shipping. You're not going to get that kind of a bargain anywhere. I mean, it's really a steal.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, Bob, I don't think it's a steal. I think it is a good buy. I think that, when you say steal, and it kind of leads some people to think that, hey, maybe there's something that I'm getting taken on somewhere else. I think you're offering a quality product, and I think that you're doing it on the up and up, and at
a more than fair price.
Exactly.
Oh, the price is extremely fair. Very.
Very fair. Look, I went to lunch with a buddy of mine, actually with three buddies of mine, and it was $56 for us to have lunch, and we didn't go to any place fancy. All right, so lunch for four people is almost two holsters.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I spent half of that at Taco Bell today on myself for four Mexi melts, 2 chicken quesadillas, and a large Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, the stuff's
expensive. I hope to God you bought some baby wipes with that. That's a large order, young man.
well, I am
Holy
on the
cow.
I am on the 3,500 calorie a day diet. Thank you very much.
Well, you know, you have to keep track of that. You got to keep track of that healing process.
Well, you know, I am, like I said, I am healing. So
I understand how fast and tortillas aid the healing process. I truly do.
Yeah.
By the way, tortillas are just large fat pills.
Well, only when you roll them with butter.
Or good beans, or some bacon and eggs, or some pastor pork, or
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pitch Mexican foods and belts in this show, but that's how it's working out.
Yeah. Bob, do you have customers coming from the north in Canada?
Well, it's surprised that you asked that. No, not in Canada yet. However, I put an ad in Alaska today, and I got 2 belts going to Alaska.
Oh, that's awesome.
Already. I mean, that's unbelievable. But it is, when I first started doing them, everybody had, like Mike had said earlier, everybody was skeptical. They laughed because I had a high point in the holster. And
I thought you had serious guts for posting your product with a high point.
And the reason I did it makes sense to me. If it'll hold that heavy old thing, I mean, anybody knows anything about guns knows high points.
If you had the guts to pitch your product with the $150 pistol that on the secondary market now gets sold for $300, I got to applaud your guts, and I got to take a look at your product. And once I looked at the product, I'm telling you, it stuck in my head for 3 days, and I was like, that's it. I got to get one of these.
You're being generous. I only give $85 for that high point.
Well, this is South Texas, so our prices are a little off due to our infatuation with the peso and other assorted financial niceties such as that.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason I asked about that shipping to Canada, Bob, was you would figure that with being so close up there, at least on the northern tier, what I would call the country, because I've lived in the southern tier, and anything above Texas was the north to me.
Yeah.
That's y'all a bunch of Yankees.
Y'all a bunch of Yankees up there. That's right.
I don't know about import fees, and I don't know about customs. So I'm gonna look into it. There's a customs station in Wilmington, Ohio, just about 20 miles north of me, and I might just drive up there and sit down and have a chat with those guys one of these days, and because they'll tell you, because they ship out of there every day. I mean, it's at an airport.
Yeah, certainly. So Bob, have you ever taken your product to a firearm show or anything like that? Have you sold these in the general public, or have you always done them as an operation out of your workshop?
What I have done, basically, I have sold a few. I've never had the ability to make enough to go to a gun show. If I'd go to a gun show, I better have a couple of hundred of them.
Yeah, certainly. I could expect those things to go pretty fast.
Absolutely, you'd sell out.
And another problem with that too is if you go to a gun show, that's not a real problem, but a lot of people want to just buy it and take it home with them, and that's fine. But if I don't have your size, what are you going to do? I can give you my email address, or you can fill out an order form and I'll send it. I can ship it to you. It ain't no big deal. But mostly what I do, and it's just a matter of time, because I try to make everything to fit just exactly perfectly for everybody. So basically I just sell them, and ship them out, because it's that way I know that it's going to fit you. You can buy one and try it on. And, I've made 47.5s. I've made 36.5. I've made 36 3/4. I've made all kinds of oddball sizes.
Oh, that's great. So, I mean,
for Bob's sake, people do us a favor and order even numbers. Just cut Bob some slack. He works hard. Even numbers, people.
So it's like asking for exact change, Michael. It's going to be a difficult process.
He's
Oh, all right. Listen, let me give you an exact change story that worked out in my favor, and I may lose karma points in this, but whatever. I went to Walmart and I bought a case of shells. I bought a case of 12 gauge shells, and the girl who rang up my case of 12 gauge shells, which is 10 boxes of 25 each, there's 250 in a case, and she pulled one box out and rang it up, and that she didn't ring up the other 9. She never multiplied it, and I just had to say thank you. I did not interrupt her process.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You get a chance to bring something up to the register, and in good faith go to pay for it, and I figure that
I was ready to pay for 10 boxes, but when she only charged me for one, well, you know what? Sorry, Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I look at it as that is society's way of paying me back for everything I've overpaid at McDonald's and not gotten when I've gone through the drive-through.
Exactly.
This is for that time you didn't want pickles. I'm with you, dude.
Yeah. So, Bob, getting back to the product that you're crafting, what is the average belt that you're going to make? Is it going to be the black leather? Is it going to be tooled? Is it going to be brass? Is it what is it going to look like for the average customer?
The tooled belts sell about 75%, and the smooth leather sells about 25%. And brown sells about 60%, and black sells about 40%. So that's kind of.
What are you looking down on a breakdown on the buckles? Because I figure I need 4 of them. I need a brown one with a silver buckle, brown one with a gold buckle, a black one with a silver buckle, and a black one with a gold buckle, or the brass.
Okay. Yeah, that's easy. I just see when I do the silver and the brass. It's all chrome plated rivets and snaps. Everything's chrome on it. When I do the brass, everything's brass on it. So there's everything matches. I mean, it just matches. It's good. It looks good.
Yeah. It's a good looking belt. I mean, nobody says, "Hey, that dude's got a gun belt on."
Now, Bob, does it have your signature stamp or proof mark on there?
No, does not.
Really, I would be excited to see if you did that, because that's something that
I've got one under construction. It's going to be a hot stamp. It's electric, and it's like a branding iron.
Right.
And it'll have my logo and my email address.
That's perfect.
You can see my logo on you can see my logo on the internet on my website. But I've got a real
www.easyconcealcarry.com.
There you go.
I'm serious. I truly believe in this product. There's few things that I can truly get behind anymore, and this is one of them. It's stuck in my head for 4 days after I saw it. And Nick, I know, honestly, when I told you we were going to have a guy on who makes gun belts, it kind of, okay, whatever. I know now that you've looked at it, you see the genius in it.
Oh yeah, certainly. And like I said, I think that. For me, that's one of the things that I didn't like to carry. I didn't like to carry a pistol on my hip for the sheer fact that I would always have to put it inside of a holster that slides onto my belt. And after a while, it's not even so much that it makes my pants sag, is that the holster itself would dig into my hip.
The beautiful part of this whole thing is you can wear that belt 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you don't have to carry a gun 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right, and I think that's where the utility of it is just plainly evident, is that when you're out and about, I mean, you can not think twice and be prepared enough to go. I mean, literally, Michael had sent me a nice holster, a nice leather tooled holster, but it's quite large, and it's a chore to put it on to go through all the different
that one
belt
I sent you when you're in Afghanistan?
Yep, that's the one.
I remember that is a big holster. I think that was a Bianchi, and it was an external holster.
Right, it's an external holster, and that's the one that I hold my 45.
It was an open bottom. Is that correct?
Yes.
There's a place for those. There is a place for those, and there's a need for those. I'm not saying that my belt is going to replace everything and for everybody, because it isn't.
Well, no, and I'm not by any means I'm implying that I'm getting rid of my holsters, because I have holsters that do the job that this belt can't do.
Exactly.
But for 80% of my life, I can totally see this belt like working out on a daily basis.
The excellent thing about the belt, like I said, I can't say enough, the simplicity of the design is the beauty of it. And you can wear that belt. You can wear it to church on Sunday if you want to. They're nice looking pieces. Okay, you wear it every single day. And if you decide that you won't want to carry a gun in your house everywhere you go, you take it out and put it in a drawer. And then when you get ready to leave, you take it out of the drawer and put it in your belt, and away you go.
Well, like I said, this is a great product, a great American-made product, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited to get one in the mail. So I'm pretty excited about the design. It, like I said, I think if I had my druthers and I was shipping out the $40 to you, Bob, I'd probably get one that was black, but it looks like you got the silver buckles on it. And
Yep.
I would
you
probably
go ahead
have
and put in your order now, knowing that I'm going to get this thing for you.
That's the hint, Michael. Let's see. I was taking to see how long you'd pick up on it.
Look, I was born at night, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, there you go.
It wasn't last night.
Hey, so listen, I gotta hit something real important right now. Guys, we got to go over the 4 rules of gun safety. That's something that I truly believe in. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, rule number 1 is every firearm is loaded until you physically and visually verify that it is not loaded. Please open that action, pull that magazine out, flip that cylinder open, break that shotgun open, and make sure that there is not a round in the chamber ready to go off. Rule number 2, keep that muzzle in a safe direction at all times. Don't point it at anything you don't want to destroy. Rule number 3 is know what your target is and know what is beyond your target at all times. So please do not shoot at that pop can on the fence post and nail some kid on a bicycle a quarter mile away. Know what your target is, know what's beyond it. And the most important rule, and I see this in my daily life probably violated by about 80% of the people I know, is please keep your booger hook off the bang switch until you are ready to discharge that weapon. No finger on the trigger, in the trigger guard. Keep that finger pointed at your target while you're aiming that weapon, and do not put your finger on that trigger until you are ready to fire. There are no accidental discharges. They are all negligent, and the negligence is people keeping their finger on the trigger when they are not ready to fire. And please do not give the anti-gun folks any more ammunition to fight us. You got a tough enough battle right now as it is, and don't make the easy concealed carry holster something of the past. Yeah. So, I mean, seriously, we're the only ones that can do it for ourselves. So police ourselves. If you see your buddy out there doing something stupid with a firearm, he picks up that brand new, whatever, Larson 3D that you just bought, and he grabs it and he puts his finger right on the trigger, do not be afraid to yell at him and tell him exactly where he screwed up.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Michael, we say it every week, and every week we see something on the news. I don't think we can account for the way that folks that are in the newspaper business write out stories, but like you say, there is no accidental discharges. Firearms just don't go off. If we had a gun idiot of the week segment, we'd probably talk about the teacher in Utah who negligently discharged her firearm in the restroom and destroyed a toilet, and the fragments from the toilet and the bullets punctured her leg. And sure enough, the story said that she gave conflicting reports to the police at multiple points, and then said, "Well, I was changing in the restroom, and my pistol slid down, and it went off." I think that this is 2014. Nobody is listening to the "my gun just
We've
went
got
off"
the
story.
transfer bar safety in effect since 69. Thank you, Ruger, for giving us the 2-screw Blackhawk. There are no weapons that discharge on their own unless you're carrying an 8mm Nambu from the middle of the Japanese dynasty of World War II. There are no firearms that do that.
Wow. So I mean,
if that firearm discharges, it's because your big fat booger hook was sitting directly on the bang switch, and you got the urge to itch.
That's right. I think that
Don't do it.
we're up against a very, very vocal lobby, and that is the lobby of taking away your individual right to own firearms.
But you know what they overlook? These terrorists, what they call them, ISIS or whatever the hell they call them, that are beheading people. They don't behead any. I've never seen anybody beheaded by a gun. They use knives.
Yeah, certainly.
So what?
You know what really scares me about ISIS was that time that they cut school lunch funding. That was horrible. Or that time that time that ISIS raised the gas excise tax. Or that time that ISIS made you get government mandated health care. Or that time that ISIS evicted all those people, millions of people from homes over like fraudulent mortgage documents. ISIS was horrible when that happened.
I personally think that they were responsible for the spread of Ebola.
I do too.
I'm going to place that blame firmly in the lap of the TSA, because if TSA can manhandle grandma on her way to visit the grandkids in Kalamazoo for Christmas, why have they not taken everybody off a plane from Africa with a fever and bludgeoned them to death on the tarmac?
Well, you know that Michigan does have
If tasering and bludgeoning to death are good enough for jaywalking in the rest of the United States, it should be good enough for the Ebola spreaders, because that's an assault on every American.
I'll tell you what. It's one of those things where we see too many things in the news. We talk about this teacher from Utah. You don't give the anti-firearms folks any opportunity to infringe on your rights to have your own firearms and to wear your firearms if your state allows you. Don't cave to the pressure. If you have the opportunity in your state to do open carry and you feel like doing it, go for it. I'll tell you what. Here in Virginia, where I'm at, people don't even give you a second look, because probably more people than not are actually carrying.
I've sent a lot of belts to the state of Virginia.
I'm telling you, a lot of folks are doing it, so I don't surprise you.
You're gonna send one more to the state of Virginia, possibly two more.
I've sent several.
Maybe even four more.
We'll see.
I have a feeling that once Nick gets a hold of one of these, he's gonna want a couple more. I truly do, because once you see it and how it fits, and it works with all different styles of pants too. It's not just like a Levi's centric kind of a thing. It works with all sorts of jeans.
Yeah. I wear dress pants, and
that's good stuff.
I don't wear dress pants. I don't go to Catholic school anymore. I don't wear dress pants.
Well, I'm probably a day or two older than you are.
Bob, can you adjust them to work with suspenders if folks like to do that? Can the leather handle it? Okay,
yeah,
that's one of the questions I had.
But the suspenders that I wear are attached to the pants. It's not attached to the belt.
Right, and I'm saying it's not going to impact the fit of the belt at all.
No, I wear suspenders with leather forks.
Right,
and they just button on, and that's
perfect. Well, Michael, we got just a minute or two left. I wanted to say thanks to Jules and UCY.TV giving us a platform to talk about the things that we love and get our passions out there for our listeners. I'd like to thank them as well.
Nick, I truly agree with what you just said. Jules has put in yeoman's work bringing UCY to where it is, and you can't beat the spread of information that's available here. I want to shout out Bob's company one more time, www.easyconcealcarry.com. Buy one. It's worth it. We got Prepper Chicks live after dark. And I'll tell you what, last night was the season opening of The Walking Dead, and I know that they happen to have a particular affinity for that. So I'm sure you get a little bit of the update if you missed that. And, that card game is just, can't beat it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to us. www.easyconcealcarry.com for Bob's belt. Get yourself one. Thanks a lot, guys.
Buy a gun.
TV rocks. Best radio out there. Buy a gun.